Happy Aloha Friday, and thanks for joining us here on This Is Now. Well, we have been talking about this all week, and for the first time since Monday, the lights are finally back on in downtown Honolulu.
Hawaiian Electric finally restored power to the remaining 600 customers. Many are local businesses who have taken a big financial hit because of the outage.
This came after difficult and dangerous underground repairs. Late Wednesday, crews suffered a setback after an arc flash happened inside a manhole. It forced them to shut off power around 10:30 p.m. to roughly 3,000 customers. 4 electricians were inside the manhole when it happened, but they were not hurt.
We were trying to, first of all, figure out if anyone was hurt. We were trying to figure out if these guys could safely go back into the manhole. It took quite a long time for the manhole itself to be safe to the point they could go back in there and see what was going on.
HECO says all major repairs are complete and that any customers still without power should contact its Oahu trouble line at 855-304-1212. The electricity may be back, but business owners have already suffered losses in the tens of thousands from the extended outage. The claims process is on HECO's website, but the utility says businesses should not expect an immediate response. There has been much talk online about encouraging the community to go and support businesses in the area this weekend. So if you want to venture down and check out local eateries and bars, that boost in business will certainly be felt and appreciated. And some news just into our newsroom. After 1.5 hours of deliberation, a jury has found Jefferson Manuales Ibalio guilty of child sexploitation. The 35-year-old was arrested back in January 2023 as a part of Operation Keiki Shield. Ibalio solicited sex from an undercover law enforcement officer posing online as a 16-year-old girl. Officials said he offered $200 in exchange for sex. Commercial sexual exploitation of a minor is a Class B felony and punishable by up to 10 years in prison. His sentencing is scheduled for late August. He now must also register as a sex offender. Also new at noon, the Heart Board was supposed to have a meeting today to discuss Rail CEO Lori Kahikina's contract, but apparently it's been rescheduled. When we tried accessing the live stream, there was a notice saying, due to technical difficulties, the meeting will now take place on June 28th. This comes after we learned about a summary of complaints against Kahikina, which claim she created a toxic work environment, berated, intimidated, and harassed employees, and played favorites, and that excessive layoffs have hit the agency hard. Kahikina says many of the complaints are vague, but agrees she micromanages details and says the layoffs were necessary to streamline the agency. Meanwhile, NOAA has issued a $20,000 fine against 2 people for the death of a monk seal pup on Oahu's North Shore. Authorities say the female pup, P07, was mauled to death last month by an unleashed dog. The 2 people now charged with violating the Marine Mammal Protection Act are DLNR employee Leslie McPherson, who first reported the incident, and James Lyman. McPherson has spent years trying to protect seals and has documented numerous seal births.
It's painful to realize that it's such a thing that could be managed easily, keeping the dogs out of on a leash and away from the park. If the government agency who's responsible for managing and protecting and offering protection for the marine mammals in this state, in these waters, there shouldn't be any lack of transparency.
DLNR has opened its own investigation. McPherson and Lyman have the right to challenge the charges and the penalty. Now we go to apocalyptic scenes across southern New Mexico as wildfires continue to scorch the mountain community of Ruidoso. Rains have helped firefighters in their efforts to contain the flames while also creating a new challenge. CBS's Jared Hill has more.
In fire-ravaged Ruidoso, New Mexico, blackened trees and homes burned down to the foundation by 2 wildfires simultaneously raging around the mountain village. Tashina and Adrian Collazo fled earlier this week. Now, they don't know if there will be anything left to return to.
This one, it just hits different when it's your home.
The South Fork and Salt fires have scorched more than 20,000 acres, destroying about 500 homes, claiming at least 2 lives.
Firefighters that were on the initial attack, is just too much heat, too much energy for them to try to get around this.
Storms rolled through earlier in the week, helping to slow the spread, but creating another challenge in their wake: flash flooding. This RV park was overtaken by a river raging from fresh burn scars.
Luckily, a lot of people had already got their rigs and moved them out. If not, this would have been a whole lot worse.
With the fire still 0% contained, some 8,000 residents, like the Collasos, are left wondering what's next.
Thank God we're safe and
We
have somewhere. There's a lot of people that don't have anywhere to go.
But grateful for what they have. Jared Hill, CBS News.
A 2-year legal battle between the state and 13 Keiki climate activists is over after a settlement designed to force the state to meet ambitious greenhouse gas reduction goals. It requires the state to make an enforceable plan in 1 year to meet the goal of net zero emissions in transportation by 2045. Progress will be overseen and enforced by the state's environmental court and advised by a council of young people.
Are incredibly happy that we have a seat at this table and that we can be here as the decisions are being made.
There's going to be decisions that we're going to make as we go forward. That's going to piss some people off. I mean, it's going to have to happen.
Those decisions could include taking away roadway lanes to make bikeways or pedestrian routes. It could also force airlines to invest in things like planting trees to balance the fuel they burn. The state spent $3 million on lawyers and experts after the suit was filed, but the settlement avoided a trial and was set to begin next week.
The U.S. Supreme Court upholds a gun control law intended to protect victims of domestic violence. Natalie Brand has more.
It's the decision gun safety advocates had hoped for when they rallied in front of the Supreme Court during November's oral arguments.
We know that lives are on the line.
In an 8-1 ruling, the justices upheld a federal law that prohibits people under domestic violence restraining orders from having firearms.
This is the first time we've seen this Supreme Court in a long time actually rule in favor of regulation of guns.
Chief Justice John Roberts wrote, "The law uses common sense and applies only after a judge determines that an individual poses a credible threat of physical violence." The court ruling against the challenge brought by 23-year-old Zaki Rahimi of Texas, indicted for possessing a firearm while having a restraining order against him.
This case stemmed from the High Court's Bruin decision 2 years ago, which expanded gun rights, saying history and tradition should determine whether laws regulating firearms are constitutional.
While history has a role to play in constitutional analysis, it has to be calibrated against the issues of present day.
Emma Brown is the executive director of the Giffords Law Center to prevent gun violence.
It's important to remember that this case, all it does is preserve the status quo. And the status quo in this country is a tremendously dangerous country for women and for domestic violence survivors.
Legal experts expect Friday's opinion will provide more clarity for lower courts as they decide other Second Amendment cases. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
The FAA is investigating why a Southwest Airlines jet came dangerously close to the ground during its approach to its destination airport this week. Now, what may be more unsettling is this is the second such incident the agency is looking into since April. Laura Aguirre has more.
This is Southwest Airlines Flight 4069 over Yukon, Oklahoma Wednesday, about 9 miles from the airport in Oklahoma City. Just after midnight local time, air traffic control warned the pilots of a low altitude alert, asking the crew, "You good out there?" according to liveatc.net. Tracking data from Flight Radar 24 reveals that the jet, which took off from Las Vegas, came within 525 feet of the ground before climbing briefly and then safely landing. The FAA confirmed in a statement Thursday that it's investigating the incident. Southwest Airlines says it's working with the agency to understand and address any irregularities with the aircraft's approach to the airport. It's the second frightening descent by a Southwest jet since April, when a flight landing in Hawaii went as low as 400 feet above the ocean before climbing after an aborted landing attempt. The jets involved in both cases are Boeing 737 models, and while the cause of these two descents has not been determined, they come as Boeing is mired in previous safety and quality control mishaps. The company's CEO faced harsh bipartisan criticism on Capitol Hill Tuesday.
This hearing is a moment of reckoning.
You don't recognize the Boeing that has airplanes falling out of the sky?
Our culture is far from perfect, but we are taking action and we are making progress.
Southwest tried to assure the flying public after Wednesday's incident, saying nothing is more important than the safety of their customers and employees. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Known for his straight-talking buddy characters, Hawaii's Taylor Wily has died. Billy V has more on the actor's life and career.
Known for his straight-talking buddy characters, Hawaii's Taylor.
I heard about it, everybody. You gotta stop talking about it. It's like The Sopranos. It's over. Find a new show.
The Laie native was a sumo wrestler before he got into acting. He was best known for his role as Kamikona on the reboot of Hawaii Five-0. He was also on Magnum P.I. and in the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Wiley was known also for his philanthropy and visiting children at Shriners Hospital.
He's probably the most memorable person to walk in the door there from the Hawaii Five-0 team, and the most loved just because of how personal he was with everyone. He had a heart of gold and he never met a stranger. I saw fans approach him quite often and he never turned them down for a photo or an autograph.
The actor's family confirmed that he passed away Wednesday night, though the circumstances have not yet been revealed. An exceptional human being, and every time that I saw him at a Hawaii Five-0 or on the set or at the world premieres, he always made sure that his family was right there beside him. Taylor Wily leaves us.
3 former governors are backing former state Senator Clayton He, who's trying to win back his old seat in District 23, which spans from Kaneohe to Wahiawa. Mahealani Richardson has the story.
Working at a He'eia taro patch, 71-year-old former Senator Clayton He wants his old Senate seat back after losing in 2018. He says he's been focusing on farming, sea level rise, and the cesspool problem.
Those are 3 issues that if we can at least begin to chip away and address them, it will serve the next generation.
One issue. Sir, and thank you for being with us. We're excited because, well, we're in bumper cars. What's not to be excited about on a Friday, on an Aloha Friday? But you have something pretty big that you just kind of made public about tonight, live entertainment. Who do you have?
We got Anu Hea playing tonight. Don't miss it. It's going to be a big act. She rarely comes to the islands and plays, but she's coming to the State Fair tonight. Don't miss it.
And I know putting on the State Fair is a lot of work, and a lot of this stuff you have to ship. We know that there was a little delay with the monster trucks. Yeah. That's why you're pleasing the crowd with Anu Hea, but the monster truck's still coming, right?
Yeah, the last 2 weekends they'll be here. It's going to be a great, they're going to be crushing cars. It's going to be exciting, thrilling. Monster trucks.
Can't wait. So like I said, there's more than just that live entertainment. If we can show you, there's a couple of new rides. Of course, we haven't opened yet to today, but so in a few hours though, Scott, there's going to be a pretty big line of folks hanging out right at that slingshot. That's been a crowd pleaser, right?
The slingshot, get in early. There's a long line. If you get in at 9 o'clock, get in the line, you're not going to get on. So get in early. It's got 9 more days to get on the slingshot. Crowd pleaser, amazing, thrilling, crazy.
All right, Anu Hea, monster truck, slingshot. There's also a new roller coaster Scott brought in new this year for the keiki, the families. There's all the fun fair food that you've got. Really don't have a whole lot of to talk about except for hitting the bumper car, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right.
I got you, man.
A reminder, if you load up your Fun Pass, your EK Fernandez Fun Pass, that'll stay good for the next show, even if you don't use it all here. And all the details, by the way, on everything online at HawaiiNewsNow.com. Aloha.
Hey, happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Davis and Kyle in the Digital Center with your weekly sports update. Kyle, you knocked it out of the park yesterday with a Baldwin baseball story. What's going on?
Good transition, Davis.
Right? I thought that was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Yeah, no, I did a story on a upcoming documentary called Beneath the Lights, which is a documentary that kind of chronicles the Baldwin High School baseball team throughout their 2024 season. Obviously, you know, they had some ups and downs. They didn't win the Maui Interscholastic League title. That was Maui High who won it. But they made it all the way to the state championship. And you know how that all ended. You know, co-championship. It was just chaotic. And it ended in a historic first with this co-championship. And the filmmaker was there for pretty much the entire run. And what's interesting is it's not like, you know, when you think about these documentaries, it's like these big NFL films crews, producers, grips, and all that. One kid, a recent Baldwin graduate, Braden Budiao, he was brought onto the team just to run their social media, right? Post a couple clips, couple pictures, score updates, things like that. But he realized, he's like, I got this story to tell. I got all this footage. He got inside access. He's in these team meetings. The trailer's out on his YouTube channel, and it's also up on the H&N website. And you can kind of see some of the clips, and you can tell, like, he's in the team hotel when they're talking to the team while they're going through the state tournament here on Oahu.
Make sure to check it out, everyone. That is so cool. And something that isn't cool, but we got to mention, you know, Celtics, if you're an NBA fan, Celtics won the NBA championship against the Mavericks. They pretty much swept them 4-1. Last game, a little bit of stats, 106-88. Little Jason Tatum on the Celtics. He put up 31 points and 11 assists. That's everything I'm going to give because I am not a Celtics fan. I am a Golden State Warriors fan. And I didn't watch the game.
It stung a little bit.
It stung a little bit. Today, though, if you're checking this out right now, they had a championship parade for the Celtics, as they always do.
I think it's every Boston sports team. They're on the duck boats, so they were all out in Boston and celebrating. And you know what? Good for them.
Good for them, I guess.
Let them celebrate. 18 championships for the organizations, the most in NBA history. They leapfrogged the Lakers. They were tied at 17 for the longest time, and now they have become the winningest championship team in the NBA. So you got to give them congrats to the Boston Celtics.
I guess you have to give him some congrats and to hear more about the game and other sports highlights, make sure to check out our podcast, HNN Overtime, wherever you guys get your podcast. Scan that QR code on the screen right now to head to our page. For Kyle and I, have a great Aloha Friday, everyone.
Oh boy, sports, Ashley. Gotta love it.
Go sports.
Go sports, and happy Aloha Friday. Whether your weekend is filled with sports or not, we hope you find some ways to enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in right here on This Is Now.
You can go support businesses in Chinatown this weekend.
Yes, good idea.
All right.